That'll work.
All right, guys, how are we doing? So we're doing something a little bit different tonight. I want to talk about this really cool fucking project. And by doing so, let me introduce my man right here. Go ahead and introduce yourself to the people.
My name is James Dean. Not the porn star, not the '50s dead guy. I'm James
The,
Dean.
the,
This
the,
this James Dean.
the porn star got really into that old YouTube show I used to do, Underbelly, and
Oh,
used to like when I first got on Twitter. James Dean used to like he loved our Beauty and the Beast one where we sang at the end. It was really bizarre. So when I first got a friend request from you, I was like, "Is it that dude?" I was like, "Oh wait, no, it's that other guy."
yeah. He spells it with two e's actually. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. It,
So
it
tell me
is.
a little bit about this project.
Yeah. So this is actually our third feature film. It's called Xmas. The easiest way, the shortest way to describe it is Santa Claus, Kris Kringle, has a mental breakdown and he decides to start targeting porn stars on on an adult themed porn shoot that is, Christmas themed. So it kind of all plays in together. There's a lot of like little surprises along the way in the script that I think makes it very unique. And that's one of the things that really got me excited. You've read the first draft. I currently have
Yeah.
a co-writer that's Louis Otero, who I worked with on my first film, and he did a second pass, and he's currently working on another pass. And like just some of the ideas we've bounced off each other and the way we've built the story out even further. I'm pumped about this movie, man.
I thought it was
Yeah,
great when I first saw you posted about it. I was like, dude, cast me, put me in your movie.
yeah, yeah.
I love slasher movies and I love porn. What else is there?
It's so funny. I just had someone else say that exact same thing. I
Mhm.
don't remember where we were posting about it. We just announced. God, the days are starting to like blend together. But we just announced Felissa Rose is coming on
Yep.
board, and so I think it was when I posted that someone said that exact same thing. I love slasher films. I love porn.
Mhm.
What's not to
Yeah.
like?
I just worked with Felicia on Cult of Blood
Okay.
for Crude Cinema. I wrote her the part of like this gypsy woman for that one, and she really enjoyed it. She tweeted me out like thanking me for this great part. So I thought that was kind of cool. So when I saw you gotten her, I was like, oh, it's awesome. I know her. Like,
I, yeah, I tell you what, I spoke to her last week a couple times, and she is just the sweetest human being in
Mhm.
the, and like she was complimenting me on things, and I'm like, wait, what? Is this supposed to,
Yeah.
is this supposed to be the opposite way around?
And
But
it
yeah,
was through
she's,
her I met Dave Sheridan, who
oh,
played Goofy, and it is in a ton of stuff, Ghost
yeah,
World and Devil's Rejects. But he was interested in my Florida Man project, and
okay.
he kind of had an idea too. So I remember he and I were talking for quite a while last summer about some projects and stuff. But it's weird who you meet through people, you know.
Yeah, well,
Um,
what blows me away is the more I get to know you, and then the more I see people interacting in the indie film community, they're like, "Oh yeah, this was written by Newt." I'm like, "Wait, what? Wait,
yeah.
what? What? I don't know any of this." So yeah, it's
I've done a lot of ghostwriting for indie film people, for YouTubers, obviously. And in the last year, I sold 11 screenplays.
holy
So
shit. That's
yeah,
congratulations, man. That's so exciting.
it's crazy because a lot of stuff is old. It's been
Yeah,
sitting around and but whatever. It's cool to just have your name out on stuff and to again to be included in projects like your project.
yeah,
And so you guys launched an Indiegogo.
yeah.
How's that working out for you so far?
Yeah, we're sitting at I think 55%. The last couple of days have been really good. Indiegogo is one of those things. It kind of comes and goes in waves, and but I'm feeling really good about it. We have a little over 3 weeks left. It wraps up
Okay.
February 12th, but we have some fantastic perks on there. Everything from physical media to if you just want a poster or
Mhm.
you can actually be in the movie. So I mean, there's tons of different things on there.
I'm going to put the link below so that people who watch this can go check it out because you guys have a great cast. A lot of the actresses who are involved with you, I've worked with in the
Yeah,
past through Donald Farmer's projects. So it's kind of cool when I see the people you have up, like, oh, I know them. Like,
yeah. Well, so if you don't mind, can we talk about the cast a little bit?
yeah, go ahead, man.
Yeah. So we have, I just mentioned Felissa Rose, but we have Drew Marvick playing Santa, and like this guy's beard in real life is the kind of facial hair that I will always aspire to and never reach.
Yeah.
But
I try to grow facial hair and it comes in all white trashy. I look like Joe Dirt.
Oh my God. I swear to God, I say that very saying. When we shot our first film, Fontaine, I went like 5 weeks without shaving and I just looked like a hobo, man. I don't it looked
I can do the
horrible.
sideburns. The sideburns get out of control, but that's all,
Well, you could do the mutton chops, right? Maybe. I don't
I had them, yeah. They were
yeah.
I looked like a British police officer from the 60s,
Get you a fucking baton.
Yeah, there you go. Did you ever see what was that movie with John Travolta where that Fred Durst directed, where he was like out? Did you ever see it? And
I don't
John
think so.
Travolta plays like a mentally challenged guy, and like he's working in front of Grounds Chinese Theater, and he's dressed as like a British Bobby. As soon as you said that, like that's the first thing that popped into my.
I don't think I've seen that. I didn't know. I've seen Fred Durst act in like one movie, but I didn't know he directed anything. Now I'm gonna
Yeah,
have to
he
go check that
directed a
out.
movie where in the middle of the movie, Devon Sawa, I think, plays like the main character, and
Yeah.
he's talking to his young son about how cool Limp Bizkit is, and I'm like, come on,
That's that's
Yeah,
a yeah. Well, I mean, I guess if you're directing it, it's your option. But
it's your thing. All right, back to your
yeah.
cast. Sorry, I
No,
derailed
no,
you.
no, that's okay. That's okay. No, we're so much alike in that regard because I feel like it's so easy for me just to get excited about a movie and then like
Mhm.
everything get derailed talking about movies.
Yeah.
So Drew Marvick, anyone that's not familiar with him, he's been in like 40 or 50 indie horror films, but he's also directed Pool Party Massacre. And so
Hmm.
he totally gets the genre, and I absolutely love that. And again, his charisma is like level 100. He's fucking
Yeah.
amazing. Jessa Flux, who has been in and I think she's been in a couple Donald Farmer.
Yeah, she's in a couple things that I've written actually.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right,
She's in,
right. Yeah,
yeah. Yep.
she's amazing. She's all the conversations had with her, she's just
Mhm.
fun.
Yeah. Yep.
And then Morgan Thompson, who I don't know if you're
Hmm.
familiar with her or not, but
Yep.
she's definitely up and coming. But I was super excited. She's playing one of the leads, and I think she has like this. I don't know how to even. She has this something about her that is like very spunky, but like very ferocious. Like she's not the
Mhm.
person that's gonna take it. She's gonna fight back.
Yeah.
And when I did the first pass, I actually had very specific people in mind for a lot of these characters that I
Mhm.
was writing. And so she was someone I had in mind from very early on. So we got lucky. And for anyone that's familiar with Dolly Lee, she's been in the adult entertainment. She I think she retired from porn like a couple years ago. She still does
Okay.
like OnlyFans, and she still does like she strips, she dances locally.
Yeah.
Um,
Mhm.
but she's local to St. Louis, and someone that had contacted me that wanted to just help out on set and do makeup, she's really good friends with her. And
Okay.
when she brought her up at first, I was like, well, maybe let me, because I'd heard of her, but I didn't know her. And I
Yeah.
looked her up, and then I reached out to her and talked to her on the phone a couple times. So we're lucky enough to have her involved also. And
That's awesome.
it's been really cool because the film is a gory slasher that's going to be brutal in a lot of ways.
Mhm.
But I also wanted to kind of have some subtext about like the way that sex workers are viewed. And like it's
Mhm.
kind of disgusting. It's
Oh
interesting
yeah.
how so many people are open to making use of the service, but then when they're out in public, or like then they want to shame people, and then they want to act like it's not real work
It's
or something.
it's so fucking weird because every dude
Yeah,
watches porn, and
yeah,
I love reading. Even when I was on the old show, you'd have a conversation, and yeah, I know the names of adult film actresses. I
yeah,
knew people from working with adult film people because a very well-known porn star, Tommy Gunn, is from my hometown,
yeah.
and I knew him, and I've known other adult film actresses and stuff like that. And it's just funny when you talk about it. And there's all these dudes who are always like, so disgusting. I was like, no, it's not. Like it's a
And, and
you're a fucking liar if you say you've never seen porn before,
right, and also it's work. I mean,
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, I
Oh
mean, of
yeah.
course it's work. I mean, like, I
And you look at something like this year, X that came out,
yeah,
is
yeah,
there's always been such a strong correlation between the adult film industry and the horror film industry. How many
yeah,
directors got their start in porn? Wes
right,
Craven,
yeah,
and, Halloween or Friday the 13th Part 5, like that dude was a porn director.
yeah,
There's all this crossover. Harry Reams used to show up in movies all the time. There's always been a crossover of adult film actresses and actors and directors into mainstream horror. So those things always clicked well together. It's like heavy metal and horror.
yeah, yeah. I find, so this is completely not related to the film, but
Mhm.
related to the people that I tend to gravitate towards the most, or
Yeah.
like that I tend to be interested in what they're doing or wanting to work with them. And that is, I've always felt like an outsider in general.
Oh yeah.
And I've always felt like, I was never part of the cool group or whatever. And so, like, if I feel like you're into weird stuff, but not like a pervert, like even
Yeah.
you can be a pervert too. I like perverts. I just don't want
Mhm.
perverts that are going to be like, over the line. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
be respectful of other individuals.
Mhm.
Um, so like people that are sometimes weirder, into horror or like into some cult stuff, my first film is about a lesbian nun with an eye patch and a katana hunting fucking clergy and Nazis down.
Yep.
I'm a
Yep.
weird dude,
Yeah. Yeah.
but like
No,
I feel
and that grindhouse
yeah,
style, that punk rock style
yeah,
is so important, especially for me growing up, because when you start to see that stuff and you hear like the Sex Pistols or
yeah,
somebody and you see Trauma, something goes off in your head and it's either you're with this or you're not with this.
yeah,
But there's again that outsider vibe of
yeah,
same way, never tall, never attractive, never that smart. So you rally around other weirdos and fringe people,
yeah, yeah.
you
Or,
all
or
find yourself in that art.
or people that have been ostracized for some reason,
Yeah.
like, I'm not saying sex workers are weird. I'm saying that people
I've
put
met
them
a
in a
couple who are
category.
pretty weird.
Yeah, I mean that's okay. I mean I like that, but I think that people put them in a category of other often,
Yeah.
like not part of the mainstream or whatever. And it's like this
And
there's this whole
having them be actual characters. Yes, in a a porn setting and a slasher movie setting, but they're
yeah,
not one note. It's not Sally Sexhole. It's like
right,
it's a person.
yeah,
And the
yeah,
reason that people get into these industries, all the adult film actors and actresses I've talked to, they all have different reasons why they get into things. Some are just
sure,
because they like it.
yeah, yeah.
You can
You
never
know,
judge anybody.
that's another thing that I absolutely think is hilarious is like when, especially when guys, or like when a woman's not allowed to like enjoy sex, like
Yeah.
who the fuck does? I mean, like, I think most people try to enjoy sex.
I mean,
So,
I always hope they enjoy
yeah, yeah,
sex,
yeah. I mean, like, I don't know if the numbers are all that convincing of people that have been with me, but
Mhm.
I try my best.
I try to. I'm not fat, but I've always acted. I've always reacted like a fat kid. Always
Yeah.
overcompensating because I want to get invited back to the party. What are some of the movies that inspired this movie?
Oh yeah. So like cinematography wise, I actually was talking to my DP about this. So he's a little bit younger. So like I really
Mhm.
had to kind of bring him up to speed. Um, when it comes to inspiration, not just from the look, but also just the feel. A couple of my favorites: Evil Dead 2, Dead
Mhm.
Alive. I mean, Dead
Yeah.
Alive, Peter Jackson's Dead Alive is just phenomenal. And
Yeah.
I'm a huge fan of splat stick.
Mhm.
I love that like very niche subgenre.
Yep.
So those definitely have influenced some of the gore and some of the over the top gore that's going to be in it. Um, and even a couple of kills, as you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
um, but I love, like, I would say Friday the 13th, 3 through maybe 5, 6, 5, something like that.
Mhm.
Like, I love the feel of those. So that's definitely been incorporated. Um, and the cinematography, I feel like it's going to be just a hodgepodge. Like we've even
Yeah.
pulled reference images of Chucky. And yeah, I mean, like, because we have a killer elf that's in the film also. So,
Mhm.
like, so there's just been a little bit of everything. I compare like making films or any kind of art, like with filmmaking, you have all these paint colors, right? And like you're probably not going to make a new color of paint, but you can create something new with all these paint colors,
Yeah.
and like Tarantino, I'm not comparing myself to Tarantino, but like the fact that he is able to take things that he's loved in other films and use them in his own way in a new story.
I always look
um
at him as like the Beastie Boys were like the first ones to create an album completely made of samples
yeah,
and remix something. Tarantino is sort of that. It's taking all these influences and then doing like a remix of it into something completely new. And
yeah,
that's what I think is really, really cool about film.
yeah, yeah. The one thing that it doesn't irk me, but I definitely urge anyone that loves like Tarantino's work is don't watch his work only. Go back and please watch the things that inspired him.
Yeah.
Because I'm not saying I don't enjoy his work. I love his films.
Mhm.
But like some of the stuff that's inspired him is amazing. And you may take
Oh, yeah.
something totally different away from it, like
That's the
you know,
best thing. That's the best thing about film in general for me. Because
yeah,
I know a lot about music. I can't play it worth a fucking lick, you know.
yeah,
It's like everyone who goes to see a movie in the theater, all right? You're
yeah,
sitting down with 30, 40 strangers in a darkened room, and you're all looking at a light that's projected on a screen. It used to be film, it used to be a magic trick, you know,
yeah,
29, 24 frames a second. But everyone is seeing the exact same thing, hearing the exact same thing, but everyone is taking something different from that. And that's what's so fucking magical
yeah.
about film is, you know, you and I could see a movie and each have a completely polar opposite opinion on
Mhm.
where it came from. And same thing you said about Tarantino. You look at it and you go, well, yeah, you see Kurosawa in there and you see Sergio
Sure.
Leone in there, but it's like, yeah, but I also see Jack Hill in there and I also see Lloyd Kaufman in there. You know, there's like one man's trash is another man's treasure, and there is
Yeah.
something you can find beautiful in or inspiring in even the dumbest, trashiest movies, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. No, no. I love taking inspiration from something that you never in a million years would think would fit with what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
And then it just like clicks in your head. There's a shot in our first film, Fontaine and the Vengeful Nun Who Wouldn't Die, where she's like having this whole imaginary conversation with her ex-girlfriend, right?
Mhm.
And she puts her head against a window and she sees her reflection, but then she sees just the reflection of her ex-girlfriend. She doesn't
Mhm.
see the actual manifestation, or like the actual like physical form of her, just the
Yeah.
reflection. That was inspired. The whole shot was inspired by fucking Ferris Bueller's Day Off. When they're
Mhm.
like, that has nothing to do with exploitation. Like, it has nothing to do with like,
But it
that
doesn't
kind of
have
film.
to, you know, like
Right.
there's been times where I've been working on other people's projects and the guy's explaining a thing and I'll be like, oh, like, have you ever seen on YouTube that 70s 7-Up commercial with the neon lights? And the guy's like, what? And then he watches it and he's like, oh my God, yeah, that's what I like. We all subconsciously are pulling from different places, you know, and
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. I do feel it's a challenge for me to sometimes communicate with people on set, because the majority of the people around me have not seen even a fraction of not just the movies I've seen, but like the B movies I've seen, that
yeah.
I'm almost always like referencing those,
Mhm.
because I love, I love those movies. Those are my,
Yeah, no, me too. I mean,
yeah,
I'm remaking Plan 9 with puppets, man. What do I know, you
yeah,
know?
yeah. Well, so the biggest thing we need to watch out with me and you on set is getting distracted and just talking movies all day.
That happens. That's yeah. We there people are like, dude, we gotta
Yeah,
roll. You know.
yeah,
No, I mean
yeah,
I get like that. But then what's cool about talking about movies like that, or talking about music or literature or art, whatever, is you can learn a lot about people's from those conversations, because
yeah,
it then opens other doors and it becomes like one of those Russian nesting dolls. You can
yeah,
find out a lot about where people come from, and based on the art and how they took in that art. And I always think that's really cool because, like, you know, my apartment's filled with sleazy ass grindhouse movie posters,
yeah,
Italian cannibal movies and stuff like that. But it's like if you start talking about it, and then I'll get into, you know, other things. You go, oh, okay, he's not an idiot. There is something more. I mean, I'm an
right,
idiot, but I'm good at talking my way out of things and making it seem like I'm not.
yeah,
Fake it
yeah,
till you make it. So you cast me in this movie.
yes, I
Yes,
did, yes, I did.
I'm a diva.
You're not a diva. You're not a diva, and
No,
you're
not at
not one
all.
of
I've worked
you're
with a
not
lot
one
of them.
you're not one of the porn stars either. So unfortunately,
No,
sorry.
well, I could be. I have my
You
name
could.
picked out and everything. I was gonna be Muscles Marinara and just be super Italian.
I do like that. Yeah, no,
Uh-huh.
yeah. I don't remember exactly how that happened. We were talking and I stumbled upon your channel, and I don't
Mm,
remember how. I feel like the last 6 weeks for me has been such a fucking, and probably 8 weeks has been such a
yeah.
whirlwind of things occurring. And I've met so many people just doing interviews and just on social media.
Mm,
And yeah, we started talking and I asked you if you wanted to be involved, and you're like, I really want to do some acting. I want to
yeah.
do more acting. And I was like, yeah, let's. I think I asked you to send me a headshot just because I
Mm,
would, yeah.
yeah.
And that was it. I was like, yeah, we'll definitely
Yeah,
have you a
because
part of it.
it's cool. Like I said, I'm a fan. I love getting to be in other people's stuff. I love meeting new people
Yeah,
outside of my area, and also, like, you know, I know a lot of people in marketing and in distribution. So if I'm involved in something, it's very easy for me to take it to somebody and be like, "Yo, check this guy's awesome movie out. I'm in it." And then a lot of people still owe me favors. So
yeah.
and
I
I
mean,
like
that's.
Yeah,
That's
I like
great.
your
Yeah.
cast. I like your cast. I like the script that you wrote. You know, it's a cool one. I'm excited about it. That's why I wanted to bring you on here and talk about it with, you know, the people who watch my show, because
Right.
I want them to know about you and the actors who you're working with. Like, I want to create a web of people that can all like, oh, that person worked with that person, and we can all kind of pull from each other's stuff. And I'll be in your movie and two others this year, so I'm kind of excited. So usually I don't get to act for other people, but now it's like, yeah, come out and do the thing, you know, whatever.
That's awesome. I don't know, like I've had one cameo in a short film of my own, and like
Mm,
I'm just not. I don't know. I don't feel like that's. I will stay behind the camera.
mm.
I will keep.
I'm a whore, man. I love attention. I can't help it.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I'm on the other hand where in general, like if I'm in a crowd, I'll be quiet and I'll observe
Mhm.
everyone. I usually avoid attention.
Yeah.
Like when we did a premiere, we didn't even do a red carpet. We did it at a drive-in, matter of fact, and
Oh,
that was that
okay.
was that was always like, I mean, come on, a movie called Fontaine and the Vengeful Nun Who Wouldn't Die.
Yeah. Well, it
It was
has to be the
one
driving.
it was a 100% from the very first shoot day. We were like, oh yeah, we're going to premiere this at a drive-in. So
Yeah.
that was my goal. It happened, and yeah, I don't know. We didn't do a red carpet. That was the long and short of it. And I
All right.
like everyone always talks about that and asks, when are you gonna do that in your next one? I don't know. I'm just not. I guess I have to eventually. I will have to, because like
Mm,
it's not about me. It's about everyone that put all that work in
yeah.
and they want
Well,
that
working.
I understand that, but
Yep.
it's like, okay, fine. Yeah. But
Yeah, we did when we did Swamp Zombies 2 premiere, we did it at my theater, Len Kabaczynski's film, and we sold out every seat in a 200 seat auditorium. That was awesome.
yeah.
People came out. That was because that was the first time I'd ever written and produced a movie that premiered. A lot of times you
Yeah.
write things for people and it never comes out. So
Right. Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's a whole nother like thing with indie film is there's a lot of films that get started and then just never get finished. And
yeah,
that's so frustrating.
I
It's it's
know.
so it's so tough. We spent on our first film, I spent from the very first from the very first shoot day to when it was released, it was almost 2 years.
Wow.
And
Oh, well,
it was
I've been making Midnight Show for 10 years, so
yeah. Yeah. So it's the Midnight Show. Is that a feature?
yeah, it's a feature made up of fake movie trailers and drive-in
Okay.
animation.
Yeah. Yeah.
Over the years, certain people involved have been canceled, so I had to remove them from the movie. And then people who worked with me at the old show asked to be removed from it, so I have to go back and
Okay.
reshoot a bunch of stuff. But other than that, it's awesome. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
That'll be out this year. Well, I'll get it done.
I-
Life's been
Was it
crazy the last 2 years.
so there's two like rebuttals to that. I don't know if I'd call it a rebuttal, but there's two like thoughts in that, right? One,
Yeah.
have you ever heard of Sean Burkett? He
Yes.
did okay, yeah. He made Don't Fuck in the Woods. We interviewed him
Mhm.
on our podcast where we interview filmmakers, and
Yeah.
they had to restart shooting that 3 times
Yeah.
with a new cast. I
It's
mean, that like
wild.
every time you would go in and do something like that, that has to like just like fucking chop you off at your knees, man. Like it just takes
Yeah.
the wind out of your
It's
sails
hard to
completely.
recreate something too that you've done the first time, you know, and
Yeah.
sometimes it gets better. You never know. There's been a couple things I've shot a few
Right.
times and it gets better. But again, there are times where it's so demoralizing. And also you start to then have the people around you start to like believe in you less, you know, and that's
Yep.
not fun. But I believe in you. I believe in this project. I am excited to head out there in March. I believe you
Yeah,
said.
March. Yeah, yeah. It's funny that you mentioned that because I'm just now doing scheduling, and it looks like it's going to be the last week of March, maybe the last 10 days. Last week, I think it's going to be the last week of March, and
Okay.
I think we would need you for 3 or 4 days, and then that's where the bulk of the casting and the bulk of
Yeah.
the production takes place. But then there's some people that are locally that we're going to kind of shoot a few days here and there
Yeah.
after that. Man, indie film, you just have to be super smart about how you make use of people's time because
And scheduling, yeah, scheduling is so important. So I'm going to put the link down below so that people can check out Xmas. And
Yeah.
thank you for coming to do this, man.
Yeah, definitely. I appreciate it, and I'm excited to work with you, man. Yeah.
All right, keep an eye out for this project, guys, and I will see you next week.